3 days after my father died, I attended his funeral and saw him standing across the street, watching us. I thought grief was making me hallucinate. My father had been declared dead after a car accident on a lonely highway outside our town. The police identified him through his wallet, driver's license, and the wrecked vehicle. Everyone accepted it, everyone except me. The funeral was packed. Friends, relatives, co-workers, people I hadn't seen in years. My mother sat in the front row, barely speaking. As the service ended, I stepped outside for air. That's when I saw him. Across the street, a man wearing a black cap and sunglasses. He looked exactly like my father. Same height, same posture, same scar on his left cheek. The moment our eyes met, he turned and walked away. I chased him, but by the time I reached the corner, he was gone. I told myself it couldn't be him. My father was dead. I had seen the coffin. I had seen the death certificate. Yet that night I couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. The next morning, I drove to the crash site. The highway was empty. A few pieces of shattered glass still glittered on the roadside. While looking around, I noticed something strange. There were no skid marks, no signs of braking, nothing. According to the police report, my father supposedly lost control of the vehicle, but the road was perfectly straight. The more I looked, the less sense it made. Then I found something else. A burned piece of paper caught beneath a bush. Most of it was destroyed. Only a few words remained. Transfer complete. Account ending in 4487. It looked like part of a banking document. I took it home. That evening, I searched through my father's old files. What I found shocked me. Months before his death, he had withdrawn almost all his savings, over $400,000. Nobody knew where the money went. Not my mother. Not his accountant. Nobody. I became obsessed. I started digging into every part of his life. The deeper I went, the stranger things became. My father had been receiving phone calls from an unregistered number almost every day. The calls always lasted less than 2 minutes. Then, I discovered something even worse. The body found in the car accident was never identified through DNA. The accident had damaged the remains so badly that authorities relied mainly on personal belongings. The wallet, the driver's license, the vehicle. Any of those could have been planted. Suddenly, one terrifying possibility entered my mind. What if the man buried in that coffin wasn't my father? I hired a private investigator. For weeks, he found nothing. Then one night, he called me. His voice sounded nervous. Someone's watching me. Before I could ask what he meant, the call ended. The next morning, his office was empty. His computer was gone, his files were missing, and nobody ever saw him again. The police treated it as a voluntary disappearance. I didn't believe them. Someone wanted this secret buried. Months passed. I nearly gave up. Then an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside was a photograph. It showed my father standing beside a small fishing dock. On the back was a handwritten message. He's alive. Come alone. Below it was a location, a coastal village nearly 300 miles away. I left immediately. The village looked forgotten by time. Weathered houses lined the shore. Fishing boats rocked in the harbor. I spent hours asking questions. Most people claimed they'd never seen the man in the photo. Then an old fisherman pulled me aside. I know him. My heart nearly stopped. The fisherman explained that my father had been living there under a different name. He rented a small cabin near the cliffs, but nobody knew much about him. He paid cash. He kept to himself. And then one day he vanished. The fisherman pointed toward the cabin. I ran there. The place was abandoned. Dust covered everything. But hidden beneath the loose floorboard, I found a notebook. It belonged to my father. The notebook revealed everything. 20 years earlier, my father had witnessed a massive financial fraud involving powerful businessmen. Millions of dollars had been stolen. People who knew too much had a habit of disappearing. For years, he remained silent. Then someone contacted him. Someone who wanted the evidence. The notebook described threats, surveillance, break-ins, fear. Eventually, my father realized he would never be safe. So he made a desperate decision. He would disappear before they could kill him. The car accident had been staged. The body belonged to another victim connected to the fraud. My father used the chaos to fake his death and escape. But there was one final entry. written only days before the funeral. If you're reading this, they found me. Suddenly, I heard footsteps outside, heavy footsteps, multiple people. I looked through the window. 3 men were approaching the cabin, men in dark clothing, the same type of men described in the notebook. I grabbed the journal and ran through the back door. The chase lasted nearly an hour, across rocks, through forest trails, along the coastline. Eventually, I lost them. But I knew one thing. The people hunting my father were now hunting me. When I returned home, I turned the notebook over to federal investigators. The evidence reopened a decades-old corruption case. Several powerful figures were arrested. Millions in hidden assets were recovered. The story made national headlines. Yet one mystery remained. Where was my father? No one knew. Years passed without answers. Then, on my birthday, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. My father stood on a beach somewhere far away. Older, gray-haired, but smiling. On the back were 6 words. I'm safe. Don't look for me. I never saw him again, but at least now I knew the truth. The man buried in that grave was never my father. What would you do if you saw someone you buried with your own eyes? Comment below and subscribe for more mystery stories.